On the first day of February in 2003, the world was reminded once again of the true perils of space exploration, marking one of the darkest days in the industry's history, with the tragic and terrifying death of 7 brave astronauts. But to truly understand the gravity of this disaster, we need to journey back to its origins. In the early 1970s, after the success of the Apollo moon landings, NASA was looking to the future. They needed a new vision to keep the momentum of space exploration alive and address the growing demand for space missions. The idea of a reusable spacecraft emerged as a solution to make space travel much more sustainable and cost-effective. This vision led to the creation of the Space Shuttle program. The Space Shuttle program was revolutionary in its ambition to create a reusable spacecraft that could carry both crew and cargo into orbit. Unlike previous spacecrafts, which were used only once, the shuttle could be launched, landed, and refurbished for multiple missions. This reusability was intended to reduce the costs associated with space missions, making it possible to conduct a wider variety of scientific and commercial activities in space. Additionally, the program aimed to advance human spaceflight capabilities, enabling longer duration missions and more complex operations in low Earth orbit. The Space Shuttle Columbia, designated OV-102, was the first operational space shuttle in NASA's fleet. It was built by Rockwell International's Space Transportation Systems Division, with construction beginning in 1975. Columbia was designed as a reusable spacecraft to facilitate human spaceflight and scientific research, heralding a new era of space exploration. The shuttle program aimed to make access to space more cost-effective and frequent, allowing for diverse missions, including satellite deployment, scientific research, and space station construction. It was launched for the very first time on April 12, 1981. This 2-day mission proved a huge success and marked the first time a reusable spacecraft had traveled into orbit and back again. Over the years, Columbia was instrumental in numerous pivotal missions that advanced our understanding of space and bolstered international cooperation. Among these missions were STS-5, the first operational shuttle mission that successfully deployed commercial satellites, and STS-50, the first United States microgravity laboratory mission that conducted experiments in a low-gravity environment. The Space Shuttle Columbia would proceed on mission after mission into orbit and back again until its 28th mission, which would end in tragedy. On January 16, 2003, Columbia embarked on its 28th mission. This mission was a dedicated science and research flight, with a crew of 7 astronauts conducting a wide array of experiments. The crew included Commander Rick Husband, pilot William McCool, and mission specialists Michael Anderson, Ilan Ramon, Kalpana Chawla, David Brown, and Laurel Clark. Each crew member of Columbia had specific roles and specializations that contributed to the mission's objectives. Their unique backgrounds and expertise played a critical role in the mission's success. During the initial takeoff of Columbia, a minor incident occurred. A piece of foam insulation had broken off from the external fuel tank, striking Columbia's left wing. This had happened in previous missions and had never proved to be an issue before. After an investigation and analysis from expert engineers at NASA, it was concluded that the mission would not be canceled. Unfortunately, this would be one of the worst decisions ever made at NASA and would set Columbia on a predetermined course for a catastrophic disaster. For 16 days, the crew of Columbia worked tirelessly, completing over 80 experiments while in orbit. On February 1st, Columbia had completed its final experiment and began preparing for its re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. The seemingly minor incident, 16 days ago, during takeoff, was actually not as minor as experts thought. The foam insulation had, in fact, hit the wing with such force that it created a breach in the thermal protection system of the left wing. The thermal protection system is composed of reinforced carbon-carbon panels and is designed to shield the shuttle from the extreme heat generated during re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. The thermal protection system is arguably the most important safety feature of these crafts during re-entry. Without it, the craft would heat to extreme temperatures and disintegrate. The damage inflicted by the foam compromised the integrity of these protective panels. For the duration of the mission, this damage went unnoticed because it was not needed in orbit. Despite the sophisticated sensors and cameras on the shuttle, the location and nature of the damage went completely undetected. As Columbia re-entered the atmosphere at over 15,000 miles per hour, the breach in the left wing allowed superheated atmospheric gases, reaching temperatures of up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, to penetrate the wing structure. These gases began to melt the aluminium framework of the wing from within, weakening its structural integrity. Inside the shuttle, the crew remained unaware of the critical situation unfolding outside. They were all focused on their re-entry tasks, following the procedures that would bring them safely back to Earth. The cabin was filled with the familiar vibrations and sounds of re-entry, a routine part of their journey back home. However, as the shuttle continued its descent, sensors in the left wing began to fail one by one, a clear indication that the internal structure was being compromised. The crew noticed unusual readings and alerts from the onboard systems and likely began to realize that something was very wrong. Although the temperature inside the shuttle remained normal, the data discrepancies and loss of sensor inputs would have caused huge concerns for the crew. At NASA's Mission Control in Houston, flight controllers were closely monitoring Columbia's re-entry. Engineers noted abnormal temperature readings from sensors within the left wing. This anomaly was unexpected and quickly escalated into a serious concern when additional sensor data started to drop out entirely. The atmosphere in Mission Control grew tense as the data indicated something seriously wrong with the shuttle's left wing. Despite their best efforts, the exact nature of the problem was unknown, and there was little that could be done at this stage of the re-entry. Approximately 16 minutes before the scheduled landing, the weakened structure of the left wing reached a critical point. The superheated gases continued to erode the internal components, leading to a catastrophic failure. The shuttle began to break apart, first losing parts of the wing, and the rest of the structure would soon follow. For the crew, the final moments were likely chaotic and terrifying. Alarms would have blared as systems failed in rapid succession, and the structural integrity of the shuttle disintegrated. Communication with Mission Control was lost, and the shuttle broke apart over Texas, scattering debris over hundreds of miles. All 7 crew members lost their lives instantly. At Mission Control, the loss of signal was immediate and clear and confirmed everyone's worst fears. The room, filled with experienced engineers and astronauts, was struck with a profound silence as the realization set in that Columbia and its crew were lost. NASA's immediate response included activating search and recovery operations to locate debris and any potential survivors, though the nature of the disintegration left little hope. The Columbia disaster led to the immediate suspension of all shuttle flights and the establishment of the Columbia Accident Investigation Board, CAIB. Tasked with a thorough investigation, the CAIB sought to uncover the disaster's root causes and contributing factors. Their findings illuminated not only the technical failure caused by the foam strike, but also deep-seated issues within NASA's risk management and safety culture. The loss of Columbia and its 7 astronauts dealt a devastating blow to not only NASA, but the global space exploration community, and of course, their families. This tragedy led to a reassessment of the Space Shuttle program, resulting in significant changes to safety protocols, and eventually, the decision to retire the shuttle fleet and end the Space Shuttle program 8 years later. Thank you for joining me on this episode of True Horror. If you did enjoy this episode, be sure to click that subscribe button and consider watching the next video.